compliments me all the time in public and on TV. Oh my God, that's the way to my heart. I'm a very selfish person.
No, I've muted some people. Now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram, there's a couple people.
Well, I met Blake. I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I met Blake a few times.
No, I've muted some people. Now that it's a function on Twitter,
Through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah.
and Instagram, there's a couple people that I have muted.
Good.
Yeah.
Blake Lively thought she could walk into the premiere of Another Simple Favor at South by Southwest like she still owned Hollywood. But reality hit hard. The moment she stepped onto that red carpet, it was clear that the actress was not the golden girl she once was. Once regarded as the epitome of fashion and grace, Blake's reputation was now in tatters. And this wasn't just about her career taking a dive. This was about a woman who'd lost her grasp on the industry she'd once conquered. Blake had been a star for years. She dominated fashion campaigns, landed coveted movie roles, and was once considered the picture-perfect girl everyone wanted to be. But now, the facade was crumbling. Her appearance at South by Southwest, meant to be a triumphant return, turned into an absolute disaster. And the one person who wasn't about to cover up the cracks was her co-star, Anna Kendrick. The feud between Blake and Anna had been simmering for years, ever since they worked together on A Simple Favor. On the surface, they'd appeared to be the perfect Hollywood duo. Their chemistry in front of the cameras was undeniable. But behind closed doors, the situation couldn't have been more different. Anna had grown tired of Blake's antics, the forced friendship, the carefully curated public persona that Blake had always maintained. 4 years, she played along, but now, Anna was done with the act. She wasn't going to fake it anymore. When Anna was asked about working with Blake again at the Another Simple Favor premiere, her response was cold, and to be honest, it was chilling. No enthusiasm, no warmth, just a flat disinterested. Oh, no sugarcoating, no fake Hollywood charm. It was an effortless, almost dismissive answer.
Both make everyone that they're around better at what they do. Like they're just because you
through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
sink or swim, and it's true. You guys are both so good that people just like get on their A game.
Well, I met Blake. I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I met Blake a few times.
That spoke volumes, and the media ate it up. Fans, too, immediately caught on. The awkward tension between the two was palpable, even for casual viewers. Anna wasn't pretending anymore. She wasn't playing the Hollywood game, and she wasn't interested in participating in Blake's charade. It was clear from her body language, her tone, and her overall demeanor that she was tired of pretending to be friends with someone she clearly couldn't stand. And that was just the beginning. While Anna's reaction was getting the attention, Blake's behavior at the event was just as telling. She tried to put on her best smile, wave to fans, and sign autographs as if everything were fine, but the crowd wasn't buying it. The industry wasn't buying it. And most importantly, Blake knew it. This wasn't the grand comeback she'd hoped for. Instead, it felt like the industry had collectively turned its back on her. Blake's fall from grace wasn't sudden. It had been brewing for a while. She had once been the darling of Hollywood, the perfect blend of beauty, charm, and talent. But those days were over. The fashion world had turned its back on her. Luxury, brands that once lined up to work with Blake, now wanted nothing to do with her. Chanel had dropped her. Gucci was nowhere in sight. And Hollywood agents, they whispered behind closed doors that casting Blake was a financial risk they couldn't afford. At South by Southwest, Blake tried so hard to project the same effortless charm that had once made her a household name. But it was all too obvious. Fans could feel the awkwardness in the air. The media saw it, and Blake knew that her carefully constructed public image was slipping through her fingers. As Blake tried to maintain the illusion of normalcy, Anna's indifference only deepened. When asked about how Blake's drama had affected the movie's rollout, Anna did a masterful job of dodging the question. She didn't even try to pretend like it didn't bother her. She just shrugged it off with a casual indifference that left people wondering what was really going on behind the scenes. But make no mistake, Anna heard the question. She just didn't care enough to answer it. And that spoke volumes. But Anna wasn't the only one making it clear that she was done with Blake's antics. Henry Golding, one of their co-stars, threw in a side-eye and a smirk when asked how it felt to reunite with the cast. His comment, "What could go wrong? The timing was perfect." A subtle jab that sent a clear message. Even Henry Golding, Hollywood's nice guy, had had enough. Blake's reputation had long been built on a series of carefully controlled PR stunts and the appearance of close friendships with high-profile stars. She had always managed to position herself as an insider, someone who could navigate the complex world of Hollywood with ease. But that image was falling apart. Fast. Hollywood had seen the real Blake, and now the cracks in her carefully curated public persona were impossible to ignore.
Well, I met Blake. I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I met Blake a few times. Instagram. There's a couple people that I have muted.
Good.
Yeah. Blake live through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah.
No, I've muted some people now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram.
One of the most telling moments came when it was revealed that Blake had demanded her name be placed higher than Anna Kendrick's on the Another Simple Favor poster. This wasn't just about ego. This was a calculated move to ensure that Blake was seen as the star. Despite Anna's name appearing first, Blake's name was conveniently positioned just slightly higher, a subtle but telling move that fans immediately noticed. They called her out on it, and the internet exploded with comments about how transparent this PR stunt was. This wasn't new behavior for Blake. In fact, the Daily Mail had even reported that behind-the-scenes tension over her demands had nearly derailed the entire production. She was the type of actress who would stop at nothing to control every aspect of her image. But what she didn't realize was that her grip on Hollywood was slipping. Blake's diva behavior wasn't limited to poster placements or public appearances. Crew members from A Simple Favor had begun to speak out, revealing just how difficult it was to work with her. One former assistant director even quit Hollywood entirely after working with Blake. The experience was so toxic that the assistant director decided to walk away from the entire industry rather than endure another day working with Blake. And it wasn't just one disgruntled crew member. Another took to social media, calling Blake the worst person they had ever worked with. Behind the scenes, Blake had a reputation for being controlling and manipulative, demanding that everything be done her way. She fought with directors, micromanaged every detail, and made the lives of everyone around her miserable. It got so bad that even Henry Golding, known for his easygoing demeanor, couldn't resist taking a passive-aggressive jab at her. His comment about the movie, "What could go wrong?" 4 years, Blake had built a career on the illusion of being Hollywood's darling, the girl who had it all, beauty, charm, and the perfect public persona. But now, that illusion had shattered. Her carefully crafted image had been replaced by a reputation for being impossible to work with, and Hollywood was beginning to take notice. The gossip that had once followed Blake like a shadow had only grown louder. Rumors of her tumultuous relationships with co-stars, her obsession with controlling every aspect of her career, and her tendency to manipulate situations for her benefit were no longer being dismissed. And then came Blake's humiliating moment at South by Southwest. She had hoped the premiere would mark a return to form, but instead, it became her biggest public humiliation. Fans had shown up with signs calling for justice for Justin Baldoni, and they made sure everyone knew how they felt about Blake. Someone even wore a custom-made t-shirt that read, "Blake lied." Imagine being so unpopular that fans were designing outfits specifically to mock you. Blake's attempts to brush it off fell flat. The internet exploded with memes, jokes, and mockery. Blake was the punchline. Her entire appearance at the event became a spectacle, but not for the reasons she'd hoped. Instead of being celebrated as a star, she was now the subject of ridicule. No one was cheering for her anymore. Her carefully constructed public persona had been completely dismantled, and she couldn't hide it. In the end, Blake Lively learned the hard way that you can't manipulate the truth forever. The facade she'd built had crumbled, and now she was facing the consequences. Hollywood had moved on, and she was left in the dust. Her once glittering career now seemed like a distant memory, and the spotlight she once craved now felt like a burning glare on her back.